creating a new blank database in Access, creating a new table, and using the Lookup wizard. Access does not create a new database when you open the application. Instead, Access opens to the Backstage view, where you can select an existing database or open or begin a new one. So today we're going to create a new blank database, and we're already in the Backstage view. So we're going to click New Blank Database. And over here, we want to give our database a file name. And in this case, we're going to call it City Greenhouse. So I'm going to take that out of there, and I'm going to call it City Greenhouse. And notice Access gives it the file extension ACCDB for Access Database. And you want to make sure to check where this document is going to be saved. So if you do not want this document to be saved where it's showing you, you would just simply choose Browse and then select the location where you want to save your database. So if I'm sure I have my file name correct and I'm sure I have my location correct, I'm going to simply choose Create. Access opens in the data sheet view. You can create your table or other Access objects within the data sheet view here, or you can change to design view and create your information there. Access has objects within the database. There are 4. We have tables, reports, queries, and forms. We're going to start with a table object. And I want to do it in design view. So I'm going to change my view, and Access is going to ask me what name I want to give my table, and I'm going to call it Hours Worked. So Access is going to create a table called Hours Worked within my database called City Greenhouse. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm in Design View. And here's where I start to create my table. A table consists of fields. We have to create those fields first, so then we can put records in them. So my field name, my first one, it defaults to ID, but I want to call it Employee ID. And I'm going to tab over to the data type. Data type defaults, in this case, to auto number, but I'm going to drop this down, and I want it to be short text. So I have number here as an option, and an employee ID could consist of only numbers, but you only want to choose number or calculated or currency when you want to create a calculation with those numbers. I don't want to calculate employee ID, so I'm going to leave it short text. Description is optional. I don't need a description, so then I'm just going to come down here and put my next field name, which is first name. And for me, I'm just going to arrow down. I already know what field names I want. Last name. And notice my data type is defaulting to short text. Position and weekly hours. And I'm going to tab over. So I want to change my weekly hours to number because I will want to calculate with that. I don't need any descriptions over here. But for position, I have several positions to choose from. So if you have a field name where you have several options to choose from, it's a good idea to make that data type a lookup wizard. And what a lookup wizard will do, it will allow you to enter all the options that you have for that field. And then when you're ready to fill in the data, all you do is choose a drop-down box and click on what you have. A lookup wizard is an excellent option to use because it saves time and it also saves data entry errors. So in this case, I want to type the values that I want. So I'm going to hit next. And here in column 1, I have a position called designer. I have a position called supervisor. I have a position called developer. I have a position called advisor. And I'm just going to stop right there, but I could continue on. The little pencil that we see here shows that that's what's being written to, and the asterisk shows that that's the end. So I'm going to go next, and I'm going to leave it the label or the title of that field name, and I'm going to click on finish. So it doesn't look like anything changed, but when we move over to Datasheet View to enter data, we'll see there is a change. I want to click back up here at Employee ID. And at the bottom in Field Properties, the Employee ID field size defaults to 255 characters. That's way too much. You want to keep your field size to an absolute minimum. I'm just going to put 5 there. First name, I don't know how long, so I'm going to put 25. Last name, I'll make that a little bit longer. Maybe I'll make it 50. Position, I'm going to make it 50, even though I know none of my positions are greater than that, but later on I might want to add some. And weekly hours, since it's a number data type, I have the different math options. So if I click on long integer and drop down, I can see other options. I'm just going to leave it at long integer for right now. So that's everything I need to design my table. I'm going to change my view, and Access is going to remind me to save. And I'm going to say yes. And now I'm in Datasheet View where I can enter information. Just like Excel, I can come between the fields to best fit them, but I don't have anything in there yet. So I'm going to start entering some information. So 874, and I'm just going to tab over Gary Jones. Now here's my lookup wizard field. I'm going to drop this down, and Gary is a designer. Hours worked, since it's a number field and I chose the long integer, it defaults with the 0 there. And I'm going to, Gary worked 20 hours. I'm going to come down, I can tab over and come down or click 921. You can also arrow over Sally Anderson is an advisor, and Sally worked 35 hours. Jim Roberts, and Jim is a developer, and Jim worked 30 hours. 342, Jean, Burns, and Jean is a designer, and Jean worked 30 hours. And finally, George Graff, and George is a supervisor. Whoops. And George worked 40. So that's all the data I'm going to enter for right now. I'm going to save. And that's all I need for this new database and the new table and the lookup wizard.